Hi, this is Christian. Welcome to Java 2. In this video, I'm going to walk you through setting up your environment to work with JSF. Now, so far you have been using servlets and JSP and JavaFX, and they'll be working so far normally with Tomcat, and there's no issues. But with JSF, there's something going on here that is not really very friendly with Tomcat, and so I'm going to show you how you can set up your IDEs, either the Eclipse or NetBeans, to use Glassfish instead of Tomcat. Of course, you can fix Tomcat. You can find ways to work around it, but instead of spending time to do that, you don't have that much time. So I just prefer you using Glassfish because that usually works perfectly fine. And Glassfish is a product for Oracle, so Java, NetBeans, Glassfish. It's a good bundle. But anyways, so if you already have Eclipse, that's fine. Whatever version you have now should be fine. I'm using Neon, so you could, that's the previous version. You can also download this new version, Oxygen, which is pretty new. And that's just by going to, this link here and then install Oxygen. And if you prefer NetBeans, this is the preferred method if you have issues with Eclipse. Once you go there, you have these options. You have about 5 different options here. And the one I recommend is the one I circled here with the Java EE. Okay, you can use that, or if you want to download all of them, the all version here, if you compare the file size, not that big of a deal. 197 megabyte to 221, you get everything installed here. And everything meaning all these supporting technologies over here. Okay, we need to have the Glassfish, and in this case it also comes with Apache Tomcat, which is kind of neat, nice, right? So either choose that or the other one here at the end and download that to your local file. And when you install it, you want to make sure that if you want to include Tomcat in the installation, you want to check the Tomcat along with the Glassfish. I think by default Glassfish is selected for as a part of the installation. So if you forgot to do that during the installation process, don't worry, you can still do that afterwards too. So let's say you forgot to install Tomcat. If you want to do that, you can go back into the NetBeans installer, run it, and then you will see something like this, right? And then it would say Glassfish already installed, and you would see all these technologies installed here. Here I selected the all version, so I have everything there. You may not see all of these here. And if you want to click on the customize button, that will take you to this screen here, and just check the Tomcat down here, Apache Tomcat option. Click OK, takes you back to the main screen, and then just click next to install it. Once you install it, just find a directory to install it. I recommend not installing Tomcat or Glassfish in your program files folder if you're using if you're running Windows. Just put it in somewhere on your drive so that you can easily access, especially in the C drive, so you can access it. Not only that, you want to have you want to be able to actually write data to your server as well. So if you put inside your program files, they might have some issues with that. So install into your C drive. So if you would download it, you will have something like that, like this here. I have the Glassfish, right, and the Apache Tomcat. This is only for if you want to install it manually. I should have gone back to the instruction here. Well, down here at the bottom. Okay, if you want to install Glassfish manually, you can go to this link here and install the latest Glassfish. Or you want to install Tomcat, you can go to the Apache site here, and they have the version 7, 8, and I think they have 9 too, but I think 7 or 8 should be fine, maybe even 8.5. Okay, so click that download link here, and it should take you to another screen. Here is an example of the version 8.0, and then just download your correct core distribution here. So the first one here is for the things for Macintosh. The second, the tar zip, is for Linux, and the bottom 3 are for Windows. So you pick your version, download that. You get a zip file for Apache or Glassfish, and you would see something like this. It's Apache Tomcat and the Glassfish. Okay, if you unzip that, if you open it, it's just a folder. Okay, there's no installation involved, basically. Same thing with Tomcat. If you open that file, it's just a folder. So what you do is you can drag this out or extract it, but then you want to put it into your C drive. Okay, so put in C drive like I have here, and here I put that Glassfish folder here, Tomcat here, and you can have, you know, different versions installed. If you want to put Glassfish 5, just download, put it here, or Tomcat 8.5 or Tomcat 7. You can put all in here in the same C drive here. Okay, again, don't put inside the program files because this usually has some restrictions to writing files, and the reason is because when you use Glassfish, if you open this file, you'll see that inside the Glassfish folder again there's another folder called domains. Inside the domains is where you will create other domains, or kind of like just instances of the Glassfish server to use. And you know, a Glassfish needs to be able to read and write data into this folder, so that's important that you should not put inside the program files. Okay, and this will be created automatically. Well, it comes with domain 1. If you want to create a different domain, you go in here and create domain 2 and domain whatever it is, right? Show what that means later on. Okay, so you have that installed in here, then you should be good to go. The next thing, instruction is the JSF 2.2 library. Okay, if you're using Tomcat, because the reason I say it because with the Glassfish, it already has its own library, which is this 2.2 version. So you don't need to do any additional installation. That's why I prefer using Glassfish. But if you happen to use Tomcat, and if you want to explore that route, then you can download the JSF 2.2 library either from the Oracle Maven site here, and just follow the instruction here, or you can get it from Apache and they call it My Faces. Okay, and download a jar file, and you would then include that into your project just like you would with the servlet API, with the MySQL connector jar file. Okay, import the external jar file to your program in order to use it. But I'm going to show you how to use a Glassfish only, so it takes much less time than to do all this stuff here. Okay, so this part is done. Now I'm going to go right into Eclipse. I have a new version of Eclipse here. Not new version, I should say. It's a new workspace. So it's an empty workspace I created inside my C drive. As you can see, here is my workspace. Okay, in here I have some, this is created by Eclipse. Usually it's empty, okay, if you run for the first time. But I have no projects in here. So in this file, you have this ID. You see that there's a service tab at the bottom, and then maybe a couple more tabs in here you might see on your version. And if you don't see the service tab, if it's just like that, right, or you might see it other tabs or not the servers, you can always go get the service tab, go into the window, and the show view. You should see a bunch of stuff here with the servers tab option here. If you see that there, click it, and it should load the server. And the reason why is because you can see the servers you added here, that Tomcat or the Glassfish. You'll see them here. If you still don't see it in the show view menu here, then click on the other, and in here somewhere, right, you should see the server tab. Double click it, and there it is. Okay, just select that or double click it, and now you should go in down here. Okay, so notice I don't have any project yet, so you can actually add the servers ahead. You don't have to wait until you create a project. So if you add it now, then when you create a new project, it should be available for you to select. Okay, so you could do that by clicking here, and then this window will have a list of some of these different server types. Okay, here's Apache. Okay, it has Tomcat in here, depending on your version, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm not gonna go through that, but you can go through Apache and install that if you haven't already. And here's Glassfish. Okay, if you don't see Glassfish in here, then you should need to go into the Oracle. Under the Oracle, there should be something called a Glassfish Tools. Okay, just like you see here, it's the Oracle Cloud Tools. And if you click on Glassfish Tools, and if you go here to the next screen, it's going to ask you to download and install that to your system. It is not the actual Glassfish server, but just some APIs that will be integrated into Eclipse. Okay, so You can do that. As you can see, it takes a while, but I'm gonna go here, and you can accept the term and then click finish to install that. All right. And once you do that, you might have to reboot Eclipse again, and then we look at the process again until you get here. Then you should be presented with this Glassfish folder, and then with the Glassfish. Okay, so you click on that Glassfish if you already have that there, and accept the default here. Go next, and this is where you would add your Glassfish directory. Okay, so you need to find the Glassfish folder as well as the Java location here. This is the Java JDK, not the JRE. Just make sure it's JDK. And if you put the JRE, it's going to yell at you. It's going to say you need to get a JDK. Okay, so you can now go and click here to browse to find your Glassfish folder, or if you know where exactly it is, you can go to the browser here and find a Glassfish folder. Here it is, right? Open that. Okay, once you're in here, you can just click on the URL on the top here and just copy this. If it's whatever this is, just copy it. Okay, Control C, highlight it, Control C, or just right click and copy, and go back here and just paste that right in here. Okay, so you are good to go. It's gonna grab the Glassfish subfolder directly automatically for you. Or if you want, you can browse it and go find wherever that is, and then here's the Glassfish, and then just go ahead and then select that folder, click OK, you get the same place. And the JDK, notice I have it, you can kind of see here, that's the default, right? If you don't know what that is, you need to find it again through here or through the window here. It's usually inside your C drive, program files, and there should be a Java folder, and you should have these two versions here, the JDK and JRE. If you don't have JDK, you need to install it. Okay, so just click this folder again, and then at the URL, grab that file, that link here, copy it, and paste it right in here. Okay, as you can see, it's happy. If I happen to, install the JRE, for example, if I copy that instead of the JDK, and you see that it says it needs the JDK version. Okay, so make sure that's in there, and then you click next. You can select the default. Okay, it was gonna put the domain 1 here, the default domain. You can create multiple domains if you want, just instances. Is stored inside the Glassfish folder, Glassfish domains, domain 1. So again, if you go back to your drive, you'll see that inside the Glassfish folder, Glassfish domains, there's a domain 1. It came with the download. Okay, if you want to create a new one, you can go in here and create a new folder, maybe call it domain 2, right? And then now you can say, oh, I want to change it into the domain 2. Or you can create a new folder here too. You can add a new folder here. I'll put it in here, and then now you need to go in here and then create a new domain 2, and then so on, right? So I'm not going to do that, but you could do that as well. Okay, so let's go back, and we're going to keep the domain 1, and then just select the default here. Click. You can go next, and you don't have any servlet yet, so just click finish. And now you can see that Glassfish 4 has been added. Okay, you can click on that domain server. You can run it, or you can do right click and run it, start, just to make sure it runs. You will see the status bar at the bottom right of your screen, and if it's successful, then you should see that the status will be starting, and we'll just say started. Okay, so you're good to go. Okay, you can always stop it. You go in here and stop it. Okay, so if you want to add another server, if you want to have like Tomcat or Glassfish 5, again, you can do a right click here, add a new server, and then you have to go through the whole process again. Okay, so you can do that here, adding the new server. Another way is you can go into your window and then preferences. Okay, if you're a Macintosh user, then for some obvious reasons, the preferences is not found under the Windows tab, window tab here. It's under the file, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere up here we have preferences. So you click that, you get here on this menu here. Let me just expand this a little bit bigger, as you can see. You have a bunch of options on the left navigation here. Down here somewhere you see the word the server tab. on the runtime errors environment, notice we already added Glassfish, right? If it wasn't there, then you would go into add and so on. So if I just say, oh, I removed it, right? Suddenly it's gone. Okay? If I do that, notice that it's also gone down here. Okay? So you can go preferences, the server runtime errors, add, and you go through the whole process again. This one will look just like before, right? Similar. Again, Glassfish in here, and then the installation process. Okay, and here, and then this is the Glassfish, which is inside my C drive, and there it is. And then just click OK, and okay, this should be the JDK, not that well, it should be the JDK version, and then OK and finish. Okay, so that's added. And if I want to add Tomcat, for example, you go to here, Tomcat 8, right? Click on next. Same thing. I have it here in the C drive, so you can go here to your C drive. It's Tomcat 8. Select that. Click OK. The default GRE is use default workbench, or you can select the 1.8. Here is fine, the GRE. And so just click finish, and now we have both of them here. Okay, so click OK, and then now when you add here, then you just basically select that server and you're done. Okay, here's Tomcat. If you add the Glassfish, go in here again, find your Glassfish, add that there, and click finish. You're done. Okay, so really easy, and you can have multiple of them down here, and when you run it, you can choose between the two. Okay, so I just delete Tomcat. I don't need that here. Okay, so now we added servers tab. I mean, it adds it automatically for you. So now that should be done with your Glassfish. The next step is to make sure that we can run and test the code. So I'm going to open a really simple project just to make sure that JSF is running. Again, I'm using Glassfish, so I'm not gonna have to worry about the the jar file for the JSF and stuff. It comes with JSF already, with the Glassfish already. So create a project is here, new project. Make sure it's under the web. It's a dynamic web project. Okay, click next, and we'll just call this one a JSF demo. Location is default. It's not there. The runtime, as you can see, it's adds it here, right? I added the Glassfish 4 and Apache 8, Tomcat 8. If I didn't add that in the runtime, you would not see here. It would be none. If it's none, then you can go here and click new runtime, and you can go through the whole process again, right? Same thing. Okay, so I checked that there. Configuration here, it says default config using Glassfish 4. That's fine. You want to modify this as well. Click it here, and you want to check the JavaServer Faces config here. You need the fastest to be this JSF here. You can put JavaScript if you want, because you can. Okay, click that, and then click OK. And then it now changed to custom, which is fine. And then you can go next, and select the default here. Go next, and the content, just click this to create this web XML descriptor. Click next again. Okay, so this is where you have the JSF 2.2 library. So notice that Glassfish has its own library, which is great. Okay, if you're using Tomcat, you have to add that manually. Or you can have it so you can have your own library. This is where you install the JSF2 library if you're not using Glassfish. So if you click down here, then you need to either download it or go install the module. Notice again, you can access this from the preferences folder under Java Build Path library, and you can add a new library. Just give it a name, whatever you name would call it, right? JSF, maybe 2.2, whatever it is. Click OK, and then now go and add the external jar files, and go find the jar file, which is the JSP here or my faces, either one of those, right? And you click open, and now you have that new jar file. And if I were to just say OK with that, you see that it adds it here. This is a user library. Okay, you can just choose that if you want. Or I'm using the Glassfish, so I can use Glassfish library. Okay, and just keep this as it is. and then just let me see if we go back. Yeah. Okay, so just click finish. So I have my JSF demo here, and if I expand this, you see that on the right side, top right, you have two icons here. Okay, one it says Java EE, the other one just say Java. If you click this, you have a different perspective, different view of your code. So if you expand this folder, you see that you don't see the other files in here, because this is this environment is fitting for just a Java program, right? You can still access the content and some of these files, but you're missing some stuff up here. If I switch back to the Java EE, you see that you have the descriptor here, the JavaFX workspace here, web services, you have the resources. Inside here you have some other stuff that you probably didn't see before. Okay, so just make sure you have the Java EE perspective selected. Now, so we gonna create a website, a simple page, put it into web content. This is the root directory. Your Java class will be in here under the src folder. Okay, usually you create a package name in here, but for now we're just gonna create a new file first. So right click here and then add a new HTML file. Okay, and JavaServer Faces uses the .xhtml extension because it uses XML syntax. So just have to make sure it's using that extension. So I can do like index.xhtml. Okay, click next, and you are presented with this bunch of templates here. Okay, you know, you can choose either one you want. You just have to do some typing if you don't choose the correct one. So I usually use the composition one because it has these namespaces for us to use. For sure, we'll need at least this one here and the last two. Okay, this one here you don't have to use it. This is a little bit more advanced stuff for user interfaces, but you can leave this as in there. It's fine. Okay, and all this stuff here you don't really need it. You can delete these. This is a little bit more advanced. This is for inclusion stuff, right? So including other files to read into the header and content and footer and so on. So you can just select that and then just click finish. And in here I can go ahead and delete all the compositions here. Don't need that. Okay, this is your regular HTML. I'm missing the head, so I'm going to put the head in here. I'll put a title here, JSF demo. Okay, and then I need a body, not boy but body. Okay, and then I want to put an h1 tag in here. Just say hello JSF, right? You can put that there. And if you notice, there's no JSF tags. It's just regular HTML tags. Okay? But when you run it, then all these should not be visible. This should be completely hidden from you because it's part of the JSF. And not only that, this file needs to go into the JSF servlet to be rendered. So in other words, if you look in the web XML, open that, you'll see that it's going to map into the JSF, the faces, and then it's going to call the servlet in here. So we don't have to create servlet. Again, JSF runs on servlet. So since you don't provide one, it's going to use the default servlet here. Okay. So if I run it now, okay, click run, and choose the Glassfish here. I could use that as default, so it won't ask this anytime again. Just click finish. And if I have some problem here, so let's see. Okay, well, let's see what that is. Save this file again. I usually, like, when you see any problems like that, okay, you can do a clean your project. You can select all the projects and clean it. Okay, and you can also go to your server and do a clean your server. Sometimes you have to do that just in case to flush out any of the cache information in the server. So I have a problem here. We'll figure out what that is. If that doesn't work, you can always restart it. But let's see what happens here again. Okay, I have an issue with the IO file. Okay, well, let me do this. I'm just going to restart Eclipse and see if that would solve the problem. If it's not, we will figure out why. So let's see if that solves the problem. Okay, so my Eclipse has been started, and I don't know if I have the same problem or not, but let's just run it and see if it's solved. Is it resolved? Okay, so run, and hopefully it works. Okay, I have some problem with the Glassfish. Let's see why. Okay, we're gonna see if I can fix it. I'll return and come back and run this again. Okay, I think the problem is probably with the configuration with the Glassfish. I'm not sure, but let's see. If I open this file, and I think I saw in here in the properties that my Glassfish was not linked to the domain path. I'm not sure what happened earlier, but that needs to point to the domain, and I might have deleted it. So again, browse into my Glassfish folder. Let's make sure it points to the Glassfish domains folder, domain 1, right? I made that earlier, so I had an issue there. So click OK, and then I click Apply. Let's click OK. Okay, so hope that solves the problem. I save this file and run it again. And if it's successful, it will say hello JSF on the browser. It seems to be working now, so that's good news. Okay, it does take a while. So here it is. It goes to the JSF demo, which is the project name, and then the faces. Okay, the faces is going to the servlet faces, and then it renders the file. Now it's important that it goes through faces. Okay, and the reason is because if you do a source view here, right click at source view, you see that this is your normal HTML tags. Okay, compare this to the actual tag here. You see that it eliminates all the XML and namespaces for UI H and F here, and also the dot. And if you see any of the dot, H dot something, it's not shown here. I'll show what that means. Okay, and let me explain why it's important to go through the faces. So let's just say go back in here, and instead of the body, I put like H body. Okay, this is part of the tag, right? Out of the JSF tag, H body. Okay, this is part of JSF. Now, if you were to render this again on the browser, refresh it, you won't see any changes. Just to make sure we put another exclamation mark to make sure it actually changes that result. Refresh it. If you don't see that result here, so usually you click on the server here and click on this is publish. Okay, you're going to republish back to the server. So click that one more time or a couple times, and then go back to the page here and click a reload. And there's the new exclamation mark. It's been updated. So do a source view just like before. You see that the H body just a regular body tag, whereas we added the H colon body tag. This is part of JSF, right? And notice now if I change this and if I happen to take out the faces, okay, and just run that, you still see that the text is still run there. You saw a little bit shifted to the left here. But now if you do a source view, you can see that it has the H colon body tag with it, right? Which is not what we want. You want to look like the original one. You want to look like that, which is the correct one. And this one here, if you look at it, is just the exact same source code you see inside your index here. Okay, so that's important to make sure that you always do a source code view to make sure you don't see this. Okay, and that is controlled automatically by your system. So if you look inside your JSF demo file under the web content, the web.nf file, the web XML, you see that it needs to feed it through the faces mapping here. That's why this is used for. So it runs inside the servlet to render everything here to just plain HTML. Alright, so there is our example. Just do one more example. I'll just say hello JSF, instead of put that here, I want to put that inside an H tag, right? So H output tag, output text. Type that correctly, and it takes a value of a JSF syntax. So put it here, and it needs to go inside a pound and then curly braces, right? And then you also want to end that tag. Okay, it's a XML. Inside here, you can put expressions. You can put, like, for example, 3 plus 5 is 8, right? You can say, hello, JSF, you are something years old, right? So it will render this, and it's going to process this as 8 and then years old. Okay, save the file, go back to this page here, publish it to the server, and just refresh it, and you should see that you are 8 years old. Okay, so that's this part here. It outputs that to the text inside the H1 tag. And if you do the source view, you will see that it just looks just plain text. And that's what it does. The H output text, it just renders plain text out to your screen. So this whole thing here is part of that text, right? This whole thing here. Okay. So if you can see that, then your project is working. And so in the next video, I'll show you how to do some more JSF stuff with your project. If you have any questions, please email or put a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.